Stars, he met the team on the road in Edmonton. This was right at the trade deadline, and it was a big time. He was excited to join the Stars. We were shocked. It was a huge bit of news. And they played a little road trip, including having to then go out to Colorado shortly thereafter for his first trip back with the Avalanche. But before he did that, I think it was Edmonton, then Vancouver, and then they came back, had a day off or two. Then they had a Stars practice before that trip out to Denver. And Mikko said, I want to clear some falsehoods. And we all went, holy cow, what's going on here? Well, here's what started this whole thing. Head coach Rod Brind'Amour was talking with Adam Gold back at the deadline when Rantanen was traded by the Hurricanes, who had acquired him from Colorado in January. And 2 months later, they're sending a top 10 forward to Dallas. And Brind'Amour said the following.
There's not been one guy that has left here because they didn't like it here. That was except for Mikko, and he didn't not like it. When he showed up, he said, "There's 4 teams I'll go play for. Well, you're not one of them." So there's 28 other teams he wasn't going to. And when the better question is, should we have known that before we signed him,
right?
Or attempted to sign him? You know, Gensel was a totally opposite thing. We had offered him the contract. We offered him at the end. He's here,
right?
Well, we didn't for whatever reason. That's a different conversation. And all the other guys that walked out of here after agency is because they got paid a lot more money than we were offering. They all wanted to stay. Right. So Mikko was the only one that I've been associated with that said, I don't want to, this is not for me. And I think there's other circumstances on that. It's not because of the hockey. It was because I think his family, it wasn't for him. Mm-hmm. So good. And I appreciate that he let us know that. We probably should have known that before we made the deal. Maybe that changes how we go about things.
Couple of subtle shots at his front office and general manager.
In there.
Just throwing that out there. So when that happened, it sounded like he was saying that Rantanen didn't want to go to Carolina right away. Now, we all know Mikko, and he said it to us straight up when he came here, that he did not want to leave Colorado. That while he and his agent were playing hardball with the Avalanche over a new deal, he never intended to leave Denver, right? He was very specific about that. Well, when he came to Dallas after the second move, he walked into the press conference room in Frisco, and Sam, literally the second question, here's his answer.
Well, it happened pretty quick, you know. It wasn't long ago when I, kind of the things would happen, with Carolina, and obviously the trade there, and I never really saw some things were said that I had a list of teams ready when I went there, but that's false. I went there when I got traded. Obviously, big shock to leave Colorado. I went there with an open mind. Tried my best on the ice always when I put the jersey on there, and tried my best. And just decided just a little bit before the deadline that Carolina would probably get a better return from me if I would do a sign and trade. So that would be better for their team, rather than me being a rental and going to somewhere to play. So, that was the decision, and then it was teams were, interested, but want to make it clear I was open-minded in Carolina and really thought about staying there, and that was the initial thought when I got there, not before.
Now, this was the drama that was playing out the week after the trade deadline, and we played it on our show, and we talked about this whole thing. And listening to that again, guys, before we play the reason why we're doing this segment, which is Rod Brind'Amour spoke after Carolina was eliminated from the Eastern Conference Final, and he's going to clear the air a little bit. But the reason, just listening to that again, you hear that he's very professional about how he cleared up these falsehoods. He didn't go out and say Rod Brind'Amour or Carolina was wrong, or, these guys are slanted. He just simply said, I am telling you the honest truth. And his story, Sam, has been dead on consistent since the moment he got to Dallas. He's been very straightforward with the media. Yep. He answers everything. And there's nothing that you would see that would suggest that you shouldn't believe what he's saying.
Yeah, and that was the most noticeable thing was, I forget who just said it. I don't know if it was Pete when we were in Colorado or somewhere during the playoffs, was talking about how Rantanen's a little different from the Finns in that way.
Yeah.
He's not quiet. He's going to answer questions. He's going to go a little deeper into things. But as you said, that's why I think Sean brought up the whole thing about Rantanen as a captain or as a leader, things like that, is because he has that in him. He has that ability to just say what he's thinking. And if he hears something that's not true, he's going to bring it out and say, this wasn't true. And I think that was fun to deal with the back and forth and try to figure out who was right. I think it's pretty clear, and I'm sure it's going to make it even more clear in a second here, that he was honest about the whole thing, and he gave even if in the back of his mind he had a list of teams when he went to Carolina, because I know he was devastated to get traded and didn't want to do that. I think he went in and he gave it an honest effort and was pretty quickly realizing that that wasn't the place for him.
All right. So at the end of Carolina's season, when they were doing their end of season media availability, Rod Brind'Amour sat down with a podcast that covers the Hurricanes regularly, and you can clearly hear that they have a rapport and a relationship. This isn't just him popping on a random show. It's Ovies and Giglio is the name of the podcast. You can check it out on YouTube if you want to see the whole thing. But here's the clip this is Brind'Amour clearing the air.
You have a conversation with Mikko Rantanen, and he says, I don't want to be here.
Okay,
You weren't on my list. Okay,
he didn't actually ever say that to me.
Okay.
He was great here. By the way,
let's clear
I
the
want
air.
to make sure we air this out. Rob. I had
please.
no problem with this player at all. No problem.
For context here, though, real quick, you had talked to Adam Gold before a game that went viral. About the conversation.
I just
you
knew
had.
what he was thinking. He never actually told me.
He did not verbalize to you.
No, but this goes
That's
back
not
to
dangerous.
there's
I
a
knew what he was
bigger backstory. But the point of the whole thing is, Mikko did us a favor.
Yeah.
He got here. It wasn't that he didn't like us. And instead, he's like, I'm a free agent in a month. I have to sign now. Whoa, I just need time. We can't give you time because if we goes to free agency and we lose you for nothing, that's really not good. Everything just got poured onto him, and he needed to take a break. And I get it. Had he had another year on his deal and we weren't talking about this, I bet you this would have been a non-factor.
Okay.
But everything got dumped on him, and it is what it is. He made a decision, and he actually helped us by at least saying, I know I want to go there. There's 3 teams I might go to. Try that. Essentially what happened. So now we give management credit. They pivot, and we pull off a deal that at least we get. And we get a player that we kind of knew we thought we might like. Turned out we really like him. So that I think salvaged that whole thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, but I had never had a problem with Mikko and how he did handle it, how he came, he worked, he tried. He actually played really well. He had just got no results.
Okay.
If you just look at the actual games, the chances he had, he created, they were all right there. We just didn't score.
Gotcha.
And he didn't score. He hit goalposts. It was crazy to watch how the games went when he was here.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say I love Rod Brind'Amour. I'm a big fan of him, both as a player, now as a coach. No criticisms of him speaking his mind at all. In fact, I love it because it gives us things to talk about. I love that he cleared the air because at the time, it was one of the few times back in March where I'd heard Rod say something and went, boy, that's kind of out of character for a guy who is very straightforward and honest, and what you see is what you get. For him to say that there was clearly confusion with what he said to the original comments to Adam Gold about Mikko's time. I love that he cleared the air because then his whole segment with that podcast, if you have time, check it out. It's fascinating. He gets into a whole bunch of stuff. He rants about the way penalties were called in the series against the Florida Panthers in the conference final. But then he also went on to say that Florida a couple years ago basically hijacked the Carolina style of play, and now they play it better than the Hurricanes do. And he's a great interview. But Luds, I think it does a service to Mikko Rantanen for us to play this and for everybody to hear it, to know that, yes, not only is he telling the truth, was he got put in a really weird and awkward situation in Carolina that he never asked for.
Yeah, I mean, everybody said who would handle it better than him. I think
nobody. I think
Rantanen's a very smart person. I think he's a smart player. I personally don't think. I think he knew. Listen, he's been in the league for 10 years, 11 to 9, whatever it is. He's played against Carolina plenty of times.
Yeah.
The reputation about the way Carolina plays, everybody knows how they play. They play straight ahead. That's not Rantanen's style. I'm sorry, it's not. And I think he handled the thing. He said all the right things. But I believe that he's like, this ain't going to be the place for me. I don't know why I'm going here playing. I don't want to play this kind of style, but he gives it a chance if that's what he did. But at the end of the day, you look at how that team plays, you look at how this team plays, and a couple other teams that play like that. He would prefer to be on those kind of teams because it's more puck possession. Roddy's way is like, boom, go. Pucks go in, you go get it. I believe Rantanen's the kind of player that there's more players around here that under the philosophy of, if we have the puck, why do we got to get it away? And then we got to go get it again. Well, there's different ways to get around that. You do the little dumps and you get into certain areas where people are going there. So the old dump and chase isn't really what it is. But Brind'Amour's is still like that. I mean, they touch the puck in the neutral zone and they see that center line, it's going in, and it keeps everybody on the same page. I have no problem with it as long as you have the right kind of players that play in straight lines and pucks get to the net and they can get to the net. But I believe that, again, I believe he's thinking to myself, I kind of want, if I did that, my computer would shut down. But I think he wants to be in a place like this where he can handle the puck and you can pull up on the walls and, it's a little different style.
Do you think there's any, because you talked about how Brind'Amour was when he first made that comment. To me, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a little bit of this guy came here and he didn't like it and we don't like that. It almost like a little hurt feelings from Brind'Amour there. Like he came here and he didn't like it. It's kind of like a response right away, a little emotional response.
The first shot across the bow was when I don't believe we don't get a deal done. I mean, I think that should have been basically. What are you kidding me? We got a player. And again, who wouldn't want one of the top 5 players?
They took a risk,
right?
and it didn't work.
Yeah, but you didn't sign him to anything. You didn't. I mean,
he's suggesting that maybe it would have been a good idea to know if he wants to sign an extension with Carolina, like Dallas did,
but
before making the deal.
The deal with Roddy is he is the same guy coaching as he played. He plays in straight lines. He plays hard. He plays between the whistles. He does all the things. He's the guy you want on your team. Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about what kind of player here,
you'd love a Brind'Amour on your team.
He's got a son, I believe. Didn't he get drafted?
He's on that team.
I think he just made his debut in somewhere this year.
Yep.
Yeah,
right near the end.
Yep.
Well, if he plays anything like that, let's get him. Yeah. If he's anything like that, let's go get him. But again, I think he wants guys that he leads by himself, right? I mean, he leads the way he has run his whole life, and he wants players that's why he likes Stank. I mean, Stankoven's a heat-seeking missile, so to speak, a 4-foot missile, but he's like, but he plays in straight lines, and he goes to the front of the net, and I think Brind'Amour, that's the way Brind'Amour thinks that we're going to play when we get to the finals. If they do, we're going to wear that team down because that's how he wants to play the game. Is he wants to wear them down, and maybe if he gets a healthy goaltender at some point, that may happen.
We all silly like the mayor.